Hey everybody, I am Jacqueline Rosick. You can call me Jackie, and you are listening to the Scrappy Piano Teacher Podcast, the show for independent music teachers who are trying to figure things out, staying resourceful, building smart systems, and not pretending at all to have it all together. Whether you are teaching out of your basement, dreaming of a multi-teacher studio, or just trying to survive some back-to-school planning without crying into your coffee, this podcast is absolutely for you. And today we are talking about policies. Now, if you are listening to this in real time, it is July. July for us in the States is wrapping up the 4th of July, fireworks, barbecues, parades, all that fun stuff. And I don't know about you guys, but every year after the 4th of July, that's when it really starts hitting me fast. Fall lessons are a common. So yeah, policies. How can we not be thinking about them? But I don't want to just rattle off a list of what to include in a policy. I want to dig a little bit deeper, and I want to talk about what a policy actually is, what it does not do, and how you can write one that works for you, not just one that sounds good on paper. Because we always talk about, hey, you need a policy, you need a policy, better check your policies, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, great. Well, what the heck actually is a policy? All right, so story time. When I first started teaching piano, I was a teenager. I was 14 years old. Definitely not qualified to teach piano, but there I was. And I did work for someone else, so I had no clue what a studio policy was. And honestly, did I care? No, I didn't. I was 14. Who cares, right? I just was so excited that I was a cool piano teacher and I got to show up and teach. So that's what I did. Years later, when I'm on my own, I'm working in an office full time. So I'm driving to students' homes after work. And I had about 10 piano students at the time. And honestly, I didn't really think that I needed a policy or anything like that. I had heard about them, but it was like, I don't teach enough students. This really isn't like a totally serious thing right now. I don't need a policy, which, by the way, now that I know what I know, 10 students is plenty. And I should have had a policy, but that's okay. Here we are, right? I survived. Anyway, when I finally left the cubicle life, go all in, teach full time, I realized I probably need a real policy now. But I was totally overwhelmed. I was like, what am I even supposed to do? And all the legal stuff freaked me out. I still don't like all that legal stuff. I didn't know where to start. So I bought one of those books that has a sample policy in it, and I copied the format. I changed the names and payment info to my stuff, and I called it good. And I'm so thankful that I had that resource. Don't get me wrong. So whatever I say, if I ever make it sound like I'm ungrateful for all that I had in the past, I'm not at all. I'm very, very grateful for it. But obviously, I made a lot of mistakes. So that's what I'm here. Okay. Continuing, my policy out of the book was about 2 pages long, and it was probably fine, but I really wanted to be taken seriously. So I thought it should be a little bit longer. So I added more. And I remember actually thinking like, maybe I can talk about how to practice. Maybe I can talk about this. Like I remember purposely thinking about what I could do to beef it up. And so I just kept adding more and more fluff. I was breaking it into sections. Like we're talking like 2 columns on a page. So 4 pages with 2 columns. I made it look super official. I was so proud of it. And you will be so shocked to know that nobody read it. Nobody was reading it. And I totally caught on to that. So I was like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask for signatures. So I asked for signatures. I started having people initial their initials next to each section. I would go over it in detail with parents during meet and greets. I would explain every single section. I would totally watch their eyes just glaze over while I'm talking about all of that, pretty much insulting their intelligence, all because I'm like, look at how important I am, guys. So then when a parent would do something that offended me, or maybe I would realize like, oh, I need to fix that. I've never talked about this to a parent, or I've never had this situation happen. What would I do? I would go back to my policy and I would add it in there so that it would like magically never happen again. A policy sometimes just becomes like a list of grievances over the years that teachers, we just keep adding them on to our policies. And that's what I was doing because I'm like, this made me mad. I'm going to add it to my policies. And I can always say, per my policy, you're not allowed to do that. Just thinking that would fix everything. And you guys, it really doesn't. It does not fix everything at all. I am guessing that if you have been teaching for more than 5 minutes, you have probably been there too. You probably know a little bit about what I'm talking about. And it did take me a while, but a few years ago, I finally stopped and asked, like, what actually is a policy, right? Like, what is the purpose? What is the definition? Who came up with a policy? Who says we have to do this? I started asking these kind of questions, like a define your terms kind of situation. And when I did that homework and I did that deep dive, I ended up completely reworking my policy. And so now it is just one page. It is clear. It's easy to read. It's still firm, but friendly. I think it's friendly. And it's not packed with fluff, all that beefy stuff that I spent so much time trying to dream up to make my policies so amazing. Yeah, I took a lot of that out. And now that I have great systems going on, I know I'm always talking about systems, but because I love them and I know it would help everybody out. Systems that have helped me, waivers that have helped me. I also found a way of getting in all of the housekeeping things that you want to talk about, you want to bring up to the parents, kind of like that air of grievances that you have. There's a way to do that outside of your policy. By doing it this way, it has made such a big difference in my studio. It has increased communication. It has helped me on my end with bitterness. Like I'm not resentful when people quote unquote break the rules. So here's the thing. Your policy, does it matter? It does matter. It is such a big deal. You need to have a policy. That's all that there is to it. But it is just one piece of the puzzle. It's not just, oh, I have a policy and I'm good to go. It's not the whole thing. So let's talk about what a studio policy actually is not. Your policy is not automatically a contract. I didn't know that. I always looked at it as a contract, but it's not. Even if a parent signs it, which you should have them sign it. Okay. But hear me out. Legally, it's more like your studio's terms of service. It should explain 3 main things: how things run, what families can expect from you, and what you expect from them. So it's going to set the tone for your studio relationship. Now, can it be legally binding? Yes, if certain conditions are met, but a signature alone doesn't do it. It has to be clear, understood by both parties, and aligned with your state's contract laws. I know, looking up your state's contract laws, that's kind of ick. I mean, I think it's ick, but it is what it is. When you are a business owner, you do have to look that stuff up. Okay, let's say in your policy, you have written no refunds ever. All right. If that's buried in a bunch of like legal jargon or it feels super one-sided, it might not hold up if there's ever a dispute. Okay. So what's the real point of your studio policy? What is it? Well, it's there to set boundaries. You're going to have a much easier time with your boundaries when you have clear policies. You're going to communicate your expectations. You're going to build trust. And honestly, it's going to help you on the burnout end. All right. I have decided that burnout, you know how like you see things where it's like, this will save you from burnout forever or whatever, or this got me out of burnout, or this was my problem and now I'll never have burnout again. I don't believe in that. I think you're going to get burned out no matter what you do because we are living a imperfect life, but it's going to help you on the burnout end much more. It's not magical. Policies are not magical. It only works when it's backed up by good systems. Again, clear payment processes and real communication. So let's talk about some of the other pieces you might want to consider to have to go along with your policy. First of all, like I mentioned before, get a signature. It shows that both sides read and agreed to the policy, even if it doesn't make it fully legally binding. It's still going to help you. You might want to consider adding in, so this is not in your policy, but maybe if you can staple to it, so it's almost like a packet, a photo and video release. Even if you're not big on posting right now, just get it signed one way or the other and keep track of who has it signed and who doesn't. This is a big deal, you guys. You got to make sure that you're covered. If you ever want to post a recital photo or a student highlight later or it gets out, you want to make sure your butt is covered because that is a big deal right now. Okay, another waiver you would want to consider is liability. This is especially important if students are coming into your home. You want something in writing that covers basic risks like tripping, slipping, all the things, all the usual. It doesn't make it lawsuit proof, but it shows that you're proactive and it's going to help you out with that. Another one that you can add, medical or allergy info. If you ever offer snacks or kids bring water bottles, it's just smart to have it on file. And then the other one, my favorite one, is the housekeeping stuff. Where do I park? What door are they supposed to use? Shoes on or off? That kind of thing. That does not belong in your policy. Put it in your welcome to the studio email or in the front of your student binder. This will help keep your policy clean and focused. What I do is as soon as a student joins, I already have a welcome email template and it has all the housekeeping stuff. It has where they need to park. It talks about where they need to come in. It talks about trying not to go into my neighbor's yard. It even warns them about my neighbor's dog that barks at them like a psycho. So all that stuff you can put in your welcome to the studio email. And that's a great time to do it because parents are excited and that's like kind of a friendly thing. But I keep that separate from the policy because that is where the fluff comes in. People just aren't going to read it if it's all mixed together. So keep your policy clean and keep it focused. All right. So school year's coming up. I know it's still summer, but we got to get ready for the school year. So what can you do right now? Well, first of all, I would recommend open up your current policy and ask yourself a few questions. Or if you don't have one, this is your time to start. But ask yourself, is it clear and easy to understand? Would a brand new parent get how tuition cancellations and communications work in your studio? Are you using your own voice or are you trying to sound like a lawyer? It's okay, guys. Take it from me. Everybody tells me I sound like Reese Witherspoon from Legally Blonde. And, I could take that many different ways, but it's my voice. It's me. It's who I am. And that's okay. So you're allowed to sound like yourself. You can also ask yourself, is there any fluff that belongs in a welcome letter instead? You might be surprised. Here's something that you can try if you're stuck. Just try it. Okay. Write your policy your way. Then just hear me out. Copy and paste into ChatGPT. I know, AI. Oh my gosh, it's like a thing. It's like a thing now. All right. I have opinions too, but you write it. It's in your words. You've done the work. Copy and paste into ChatGPT and ask it to shrink it to one page and see what comes out. You might be really surprised at how much you can trim and still keep your voice and still keep what you need in that policy. Just give it a shot. And then if you don't like it and you're like, ew, AI, Jackie, then don't keep it. Whatever. That's fine. I won't get mad. Now, a few weeks ago, I put out a post and I think I put it in my email. I put it in a couple places. I asked other teachers what mattered most to them in their policy. And here's what they said. There was 4 things that really stood out to me. The number one thing was to keep it short. 1 page if possible. Less is more when people actually read it. I know you guys want to cover your butts, but there is so many other ways to do that. Get them to read it. Okay. The second thing that came up the most was being super clear on missed lessons. Oh my gosh, missed lessons. Are you nodding your head? Listen, you got to be super clear. What happens if a student cancels or doesn't show up? You've got to lay it out plainly. I know. You probably already do, and they probably don't listen. I know, but make sure that it is like at the top, super short, super clear, easiest verbiage that you can think of on your missed lessons. Just throwing that out there. I have other thoughts on that too. Maybe I'll get to that here in a bit. Okay. The next one was obviously explaining tuition. They got to know how much it is, right? Make it very clear how much it is, what's included with their tuition. Do they get books? Are recitals covered? Is there a registration fee? All that stuff. Another thing is, how do they pay? And I know that might seem like, it's cool. Like they can do Zelle or Venmo or cash or card, really whatever. Like I'm flexible. I mean, I know I get that, but you want to be super clear and you don't have to offer everything. Can I throw that out there? You don't have to offer Venmo, PayPal, Zelle, cash, check, everything in the world. Guess what I offer? Stripe. That's it. Now, if a student's going to show up with cash, I'm not going to be like, no, don't give me your cash. I will take it. But yeah, I do my auto billing through my music stuff. And guess how many issues I have with that? None at all. None at all. Okay. I'm getting off base here. All right. So what are they saying? We're saying keep it short, super clear on missed lessons, explain your tuition. Oh, and when it's due, your due dates, and late fees if you have them. Gosh, there's another podcast right there. Okay. The last one that a lot of people talked about was repeating it often. And I am so on board for this. This is what I'm constantly telling people. You don't just send it at the beginning of the year and hope that they read it and then just call it a day. You need to reference sections in newsletters, mention it in conversations, bring it up when it's relevant. If you know that Johnny's mom is most likely going to still show up with Johnny on a week that you don't have, and then she's going to argue that she shouldn't have to pay for that week that you're not going to be there. If you just are expecting it because that's Johnny's mom's MO, just beforehand, hey, Johnny's mom, next week, no lessons. It is a flex week. It's covered in the calendar with our even tuition or even billing. Tuition is going to be the same. Just kind of try to reinforce it consistently. If you have a private Facebook page, constantly, whenever I'm giving my families updates in my monthly newsletters or whatever, and I have something relevant that is mentioned in the policy, I will quote the policy. I'm like, hey guys, blah, 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 blah. If you have any questions, it is in the policy. And then I'll put it there and say, but if you still want to chat, just shoot me an email. Keep it just really casual. And they appreciate that. And it's nice to have reminders. Parents got a lot going on. They have a lot going on in their brains. So we're going to give them some grace and give them just some reminders. Think about it this way. The more normal it is to talk about your policy, the easier it's going to be for the families to follow it. And the easier it's going to be for them to respect it and for you to feel respected. All right. Now, if you are listening to this and you're thinking, I really want to fix mine, but I do have some things to help you. I will be putting some links in the show notes of other resources that might be helpful to you. If you are interested, on July 18th, I will be having a Scrappy session. So this will be my first. The Scrappy sessions are going to be monthly workshops where we're going to have a mini workshop for a half hour and then an actual hour of work where we're going to just knock it out together. And July 18th at 11:30 a.m. on Eastern Time is going to be on drafting and getting our calendar set for the entire year with the studio, as well as revising or writing, drafting, all that good stuff, your studio policy. So you're going to get my free calendar, which, by the way, is already on the website, scrappypianoteacher.com. That's available now, whether you come to the Scrappy session or not. I'm also going to be offering a one-page policy outline and a fill-in-the-blank workbook. If you're not sure how to word things or where to put them, it'll all be right there. And then it's going to give us actual time to sit down and just get it done because, sometimes life just gets in the way. Now, if you can't come by live, that's going to be no problem. I am going to be releasing the workbook and a replay. Also, another thing is, and this is really exciting, oh my gosh, I need a background drum thing. I'm so going to find one. I'm creating a booklet. It's a resource with templates, waivers, formatting tips, examples. The workbook's going to be in there. It's going to have some legal stuff too. I'm pretty proud of it, if you want to know the truth. So it's going to be available as a digital download. And at the end of July, I hope to have it ready to be sold on Amazon. So if you want me to send it to you when it's ready or send you a link, you can head over to www.scrappypianoteacher.com and just get on the email list. And that way you will stay up to date. Okay, guys, I'm so thankful for you. Thank you for checking out my episode on policies. I know that these can be quite controversial and we all have very, very strong opinions on it. If you do want to take a look at the show notes, I did cite my sources. Obviously, I am basing a lot on my own experience, but there is research in this as well. If you enjoyed this episode, I would so appreciate, obviously, a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening to. But I think it would be better if you just shared it with a teacher friend that you think this would help out. Or maybe, share it in a Facebook group or on your Instagram page. And if you do, tag me because I would love to cheer you on and work on this together. And don't forget to subscribe to the email list at www.scrappypianoteacher.com for some free resources and additional resources as I keep working to upload all my good stuff. Thanks so much for joining me once again on the Scrappy Piano Teacher podcast. And remember, keep smiling, keep loving, keep teaching, and take care. Bye.